This is what the end could look like if Mojang would update it. But this is what the end looks like right now. The end is in a desperate need of an update. But I'm convinced that the next 1.21 update will be the end update. And I will tell you exactly why. And make sure that you keep watching, because the hints in the end of the video might surprise you. The last time that the end got an update was in 2016 in the 1.9 update, where they added end cities and elytras. But this place is still very empty and boring. It's a place you will visit once to defeat the Ender Dragon and collect shulker boxes and the elytra, but after that, it's like, why bother going back? And even though we have been asking Mojang to update the end since then, it is still the same boring place. So the first reason is the need for an end update. Let's look at the Nether as an example. It's for a reason that the Nether update is for a lot of players the best update, or at least one of the best. Now it is a place you want to revisit. First of all, because of the 4 new biomes. This diversity makes the Nether more alive and interesting to visit. Mojang intentionally transformed the Nether in such a way that players can survive in the Nether without having to go back to the overworld. That's why they even added 2 new types of wood. But perhaps the most exciting thing that was added in this update is netherite. And we all know how much we want to upgrade our diamond gear into netherite gear. The Nether is now a super cool and interesting place to visit. But the opposite is true for the end dimension. There is just nothing to do or get there, except elytra and shulker boxes. While the Ender Dragon is supposed to be the end boss of the game, it is actually very underwhelming. They have to do something about that soon. Similar like the Nether, they could give the end different biomes, with different unique resources that you cannot find anywhere else. If you just look at the ideas and possibilities that the community made, you can imagine that the end could actually be a super cool dimension. But it's not like Mojang needs the help of existing mods, because in Minecraft Dungeons, you can already see good ideas that Mojang already uses in end-like worlds in this game. They can just translate that to the original game. It would make both old and new players curious to explore this dimension, which would give Minecraft a boost in popularity again. But there are more reasons why 1.21 will be the end update. You see, ever since the Wild update, we have this mysterious portal-looking structure standing in the deep dark biome, which indicates that at some point Mojang would want to add another dimension to Minecraft. At least, so it seems. So you could think that 1.21 could be the update with the deep dark dimension. But it is not so likely that Mojang will give us a new dimension soon. And here's why. Mojang said that they will first update all the current dimensions before adding a new one. I mean, they have never formally stated that, but they have, however, emphasized the importance of improving and updating existing dimensions to give players a more immersive and engaging experience. We can clearly see this in the previous updates, starting with 1.16, which overhauled the whole Nether dimension. 1.17 was supposed to overhaul the overworld with a new generation with caves and cliffs. But this update turned out to be so big that they had to separate it in 2 parts. Well, maybe even more, because 1.19 was basically an extension of the caves and cliffs updates. Especially because features like the Warden were actually meant to be added in the 1.17 update. And then came the 1.20 Trails and Tales update, which felt like a very random update. I mean, don't get me wrong, all the features that were added were a very nice addition to the game, but unlike most updates, there was not a clear theme. It was almost like Mojang still needed to finish all the details they promised in 1.17, like archaeology, and to add some more cool and new features like cherry blossom and armor trims. So now that 1.20 is done, and the Nether and the overworld now look really different than 3 years ago, it only makes sense that the end would now follow the same transformation. But okay, enough reasoning about why the end should be updated. Let's look at some actual hints that could point to a real 1.21 end update. If we take a look at the 1.20 Trails and Tales trailer, we can see this Ender Dragon egg quite obvious in the background. And not only that, in the next shot we see a random Ender eye in an item frame. But okay, that could both be just a coincidence, you might think. And you would be right. But the next thing might surprise you. Just take a look at the Trails and Tales promo image. On the right you can see a helmet and boots that seem like parts of an iron armor set. But if you think so, you would be wrong. Because if you look closer and compare them to a normal iron helmet and boots, they are different. In fact, this helmet and boots are in the shape of a netherite helmet and boots. So there are just 2 possibilities. 1. Mojang made a mistake and accidentally gave this iron armor the shape of a netherite armor, which I doubt. Or 2, this is actually a new type of armor. And wouldn't it make a lot of sense that they would add a new type of armor to the game if they would update the end? Maybe enderite armor or something? Of course, there is a third option, that Mojang is just trying to play with us and that it doesn't mean anything. I don't know, you decide for yourself, but I find these hints very suspicious. But I guess we just have to wait and see if the 1.21 update will be the end update or maybe something else. Let me know in the comments what are your thoughts about this. I would love to hear it and talk about it with you. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video.